people that are powerful. We were blessed many years ago at a convention of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and that I went to a class about seamless service, and I had the good pleasure to hear the most noted voices. It was like to me that time stopped. When I looked across the way and I saw in my heart, I could feel it in my heart and I could feel it with my physical eyes, of the tremendous impact that Jason and deMarco was having on the room. Not only are they some of the most incredible men that love each other and have broken through so many barriers for humanity, they are by far some of the most talented people that I have ever met. And that being said, just who they are in their being and their social activism is just something else. They know that in order to be more, we give more outside of ourselves. So they just celebrated 16 years together this past summer. In 2011, after touring almost a decade together with their music, they welcomed twin sons through surrogacy, documented in Jason's recently released book, Anything is Possible, The Journey of Surrogacy, available on Amazon.com. And shortly after the births of their sons, Jason and deMarco announced the launch of their nonprofit SAFE, acronym SAFE, Affirming Family Environment, Safe Affirming Family Environment, in 2011, with the opening of a drop-in center for homeless youth. In less than 8 months, over 400, tears me up. In that short time, 400 youth came through SAFE's doors and received services. When relocating, yes, please give them a clap. When relocating to Tennessee in 2013 and reviewing the data, it was clear that the majority of the youth served were homeless due to aging out of the foster system. Who are we in our humanity? And when people go on and on about how spiritual they are, you could get me started today as they drive past the needs that we have with foster care. It is not okay. Say that with me. It is not okay. In relocating to Nashville rather than opening another drop-in center, they felt they could better serve the youth and community by helping to prevent them from being homeless, by offering resources and programs to foster parents and foster youth while in care, says Jason. It was in Franklin, Tennessee that Jason and deMarco purchased a 6-acre ranch that they have named the Gratitude Ranch. The Gratitude. Okay, Gratitude Ranch. Our hope is that the ranch will be a place where families can come to experience community, nature, working and playing with animals and one another, and experience a lot of magic in their lives, says deMarco. SAFE currently operates on the ranch, offering several programs to foster parents, foster children, foster agencies, and organizations. An annual Easter egg hunt is the largest event offered to foster families, where over 100 children have attended for the past 3 years. All 27 animals on the ranch are therapeutic to the children that visit.
May I help you?
We're here to pick up Jacob.
We've been expecting you. One moment.
Thank you.
Jacob, it's time to go.
past will not haunt me. It's so far away. For once in my life, I know I am safe. No need to cry now. You've dried them all away. When I am with you, I know I'm okay. The warmth of your smile, no one could replace. I look in your eyes, and I know I'm somewhere along the way, I found you. Here in your arms, I feel safe.
Feels like it's been quite some time since we've been there. deMarco and I are honored to be a part of the Influencer series. Although deMarco was here to share in music, he's not going to be here to speak. With our limited time, we felt like it was best for me to speak as the founder and executive director of SAFE. And so here I am this morning. It's wonderful to be here. And this isn't the easiest subject to talk about. It's a very emotional subject for many of us. And it's also a difficult subject. And so I'm honored that I'm given this time to share with everyone I'm by no means an expert, but we have been very involved in the foster community for the past decade. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about our story and a little bit of insight with you regarding this community. I want to start this morning with a scripture, Psalm 82, verses 3 and 4. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. So I first really want to acknowledge First Unity for the intention and vision that they're giving to this issue. It's amazing how this is an issue that is so difficult. Sometimes it's easier to look the other way when it comes to foster kids, and specifically kids that are neglected and abused. It's almost what I have found over the last 10 years is that when we acknowledge it, we have to face the reality that it exists. And when you start hearing story after story of so many of these children, youth, teens, what they've gone through, it can be difficult. We know in Unity that there is only one source and one power, and that is God. And so when you see these situations occurring on this planet, it can be difficult to not question. But there is hope, and fostering hope is exactly what we are here to do as light workers, as the spiritual community that we are. And so we're going to focus on that this morning and the gift that we can be to not only these children, but to this planet. So it's interesting. A lot of people ask if I was in foster care, and I actually was not. However, my mother, I'm the oldest of three sons. And after my youngest brother was born, my mother, at the time, they said she had a nervous breakdown. I think now what they would have labeled it as she went through postpartum depression. And it was through that experience that she actually went for treatment, and she was gone for approximately 4 months doing an inpatient therapy. And so I was 4 years old, and all of a sudden, my mom was gone. I did not understand what was going on, and different family members and friends were watching me and my brothers. We were separated. My youngest brother was a newborn. And so I later in life realized, I never made the connection until later in life, that it was through that experience that I have a connection to what these many foster children go through. Thank God I was not a victim of abuse or neglect, but I did experience that. And I know now, and I actually have thanked my mother on a soul level. I believe that this was a soul contract that she and I chose together. I think I needed to experience that as a child to have the heart and understanding, and for that to even be a thread of my purpose. It was no mistake that my mom went through that and then allowed me the opportunity to go through that as a child so that I could move forward with my own purpose here this lifetime. And so it was, years that I went through. I had issues with abandonment and, a fear of, I think, really of my mom leaving again as I grew older. And then, of course, as I grew older, most of you know that I did go into Christian contemporary music. And then it was through that experience of coming out to the band that I was with, that I was kicked out of the band that I was with. And so there I was, again, at 22 years of age, homeless. I had not come out to my parents and was afraid to. And so I found myself homeless and yet again in a situation that never would have dreamt that I would have been in. And so I think, again, we know in Unity that, and we believe in Unity, that our souls have a soul contract. Many of us have, read and researched and really experienced knowing with that. And so in me finding myself homeless, there it was again. Okay, why has this happened to me? And how am I supposed to use this experience in my life? And really what it did is it created the awareness, number one, that this happened not only to me, but it was happening to others. And it created the desire for me to help others that were going through this type of experience of homelessness. And so many of you know my music story. After being kicked out of the band, I started researching, and I found that there were gay-friendly churches and reconciling, affirming congregations. And so I started sending my music out to those churches, and one by one, they started booking me to come share my story and to sing and do concerts. And now I realize so much of that was a part of my own healing process, traveling and singing. And I was blessed to move to Los Angeles, where I met deMarco, and he also was a musician, and he started coming with me on my concert tours, and we started singing together. And we became a duo, Jason and deMarco, and we've had the privilege of singing there at First Unity. And so we did that for 10 years, and through the 10 years, I always had a vision of starting a nonprofit, and we always used our music and our platform to talk about these issues. We talked about teenage suicide. We talked about teenage homelessness. We talked about LGBT issues. And so after doing that for 10 years and really continuing to keep that a platform of ours in our music, as Reverend Temple said, we welcomed twin sons in 2011. And not only did we welcome twin sons in 2011, but Unity of Houston hired us to come to Houston, and we moved from California to Texas. And that experience was such a gift, and Unity is such a thread of our story, because Unity is really what allowed us to settle and plant some roots, which then allowed us to actually start the nonprofit SAFE. And as Reverend Temple said, I'm not going to repeat our bio, but we opened SAFE in 2011, and we were hoping 10 kids would show up. And little did we know the need. We had no idea. There were so many homeless youth out in the community. They dress well, they know where to get their services, they have cell phones, many of them, and you would never know they were homeless, and yet they're sleeping behind McDonald's at night. And so it was a huge eye-opener to us when we opened the drop-in center, that this was a huge issue. And then we did end up moving after being in Houston for 5 years. Our contract at the church was up, and our time at the drop-in center, the landlord had sold the property. So it was obvious that the universe was pushing us to make a move. And so we moved to Nashville, outside of Nashville, in a town called Franklin. And rather than launching right away, I felt we needed some time to get settled here. So we took a year off, and I really looked at the data that we had, and we had a lot of data from Houston, where the drop-in center had been launched. And what we found is that almost 80% of the youth that we served in the drop-in center attributed being homeless to aging out of foster care. And it was such an aha moment for us, because we realized, it's wonderful to serve these homeless kids, but it is also difficult. A lot of these kids, once they become, the homeless community in and of itself becomes a family for them. It becomes a culture. And so to reel them in from that is very difficult once they are accepted into that culture. And so we really looked and said, how can we help prevent the homelessness to begin with, and serve foster children, and not only serve foster kids, but really educate the community on the need. There's such a great need for foster families and foster parents. And so, how two gay guys from West Hollywood, California ended up on a farm in Franklin, Tennessee, we still wonder, we still laugh about, but we did, and we ended up on a farm. It's now expanded. We have 25 acres. It's just amazing what we have manifested and what Spirit is creating here. And honestly, we don't know what the full picture looks like. We just keep saying yes. And us saying yes has continued to just open these doors for us to serve. And so the ranch has been used for the last 6 years for foster kids. Our main programming, we launched with an Easter egg hunt, and that introduced us to the foster community. So we've done that. Obviously, the last year was canceled because of COVID, and then this year's we're not doing it because of COVID, but we are actually today. When I get off of here, we have volunteers coming, and we're putting together over 50 Easter baskets for foster kids that we're going to be delivering to a local foster agency here who's going to be providing them to foster parents. And so outside of our Easter, we've done birthday parties for foster kids. And so that's been a big part of our program. And of course, when they come, they get to see our farm pets and they get to do pony rides. And so that's been a blessing to see these children who don't really experience a lot of joy, have moments of joy when they're here. And then my most treasured program that we've launched is our foster camps. And this is for teens. And this is really beginning a conversation with them at a younger age. A lot of these kids, they don't have a meeting with a caseworker until months before their 18th birthday, and basically are told their benefits if they stay in foster care, or and honestly, a lot of them aren't even retaining the information because they don't want to think about it. So we're starting with our camps and starting with a much younger, around 14 years old, starting to have these conversations of what it means to age out, of the benefits available to them when they age out. And we have seen a huge, huge success rate with not only the kids, but the foster agencies. The agencies are seeing that this done in this model is working in a way that it doesn't one-on-one. These youth are there together. If one person asks a question, everyone can benefit from hearing the answers. And so we're looking forward, especially with the expansion of our ranch, we're looking forward to doing longer camps. Our camps have been day camps. We're looking to doing overnight and week camps, and also starting to work with these youth in life skills, whether it's gardening, whether it's culinary, whether it's hospitality. And so we're really excited about the camp model that we're going to be working on. What I've found is people want to help, but I also have found there's fear. There's fear with people wanting and having a desire to take the chance, especially if you have your own children. And the fears are legit in many cases. A lot of these foster kids come in with issues. And so a lot of parents with children, they're concerned about bringing other youth in and other kids into their home, not knowing this. And so I think that is the number one reason that a lot of people decide not to foster. But I would encourage everyone to really search your heart. I believe that the neglect and the abuse on our planet, and I was meditating about this, and I was really shown that there is a disease on our planet. And just like we're dealing with COVID right now, a disease on our planet, and that is neglect and abuse with children. There's a thread of energy, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that is here. But I believe it's because it's bringing it to the surface. Just as we've seen with so many things these last few years, there's so many issues being brought to the surface so that I believe we can heal them. And the truth is we as the spiritual community, and we as a species, as a race, as a heart of this world, we have an ability to be the medicine. We have the ability to be the vaccine to this issue. And so I applaud the work that First Unity is doing. I applaud the work of Fostering Hope. I loved the name of, and I'm going to get it real quick, Ready for Life. You have a place locally to tap into. If you're not in a position where you feel led to become a foster home, then please get involved with this agency and find out how you can support. Like I said, there's so many ways that we can support. If you aren't able to foster, become a mentor. Become someone who can be a light in the life of these children who have gone through so much. And I really want to also say it's not their fault. So many times these youth are looked at as delinquent or troubled. These youth are innocent. It's because of their situation that they have gone through what they've gone through. They did not choose this. And so I hope that everyone will keep that in mind. I hope that everyone will pray for these children and for these youth, and that we all can stand up and that we can make a difference in our world. It's going to take a village, and we are that village. We are that medicine. Thank you, and God bless.